Efficiency to P versus hosting performance. And
Yep. Gotta quantify it.
Yep.
Put it on a graph. All right.
Tiny bladder.
We're
Wifey sauce is correct. I have a small bladder.
we're more or less live.
Oh, great. I'm glad I started my stream with that nugget of information. But welcome to Awesome Hardware episode 204. You're watching Side B. If you missed Side A, you can watch it on Paul's channel, which is youtube.com/Paul's Hardware, or you can follow the link in my video description, or just stay right where you are on twitch.tv. Well, if you're on twitch.tv, then you already missed Paul's half, and then you should watch my. It doesn't matter. But we do this every single Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, roughly. And yeah, it's a tech news show. We talk about tech and news and pretty much anything we want. There is beer involved occasionally, pretty much all the time actually.
Do you need beer?
And I do need beer,
I'll get you beer.
Sure. A Pilsner would be great. Thank you. And we will,
In the meantime,
every now and then, use adult language. But let me tell you about a brand new logo that we have on our channel. This was months in the making. A brand new Heatsink logo, which is going to infiltrate our entire brand, our entire channel. Not Paul, I'm just talking about our channel right now for Bitwit. And it's a Heatsink logo. It's sort of like a 2D, like it looks 2D when you first look at it, and then it has like a 3D effect. I really like it because it has sort of this optical element to it. And it's very simple, clean, very minimalistic, which is exactly what we wanted. And I worked with a really talented designer who also happens to be a fan of the channel. If you want to check out his stuff, I put some links in my video description if you want to see his Instagram and other work that he's done. His name is Richard. We just got along really well. He just emailed me out of the blue. He was like, hey, I'm a designer. I know you'll probably never reply to this, but I would love to like help you out if you need any design work done. And it was just at that time that I was looking for a new logo and a new designer, and we just worked really well together. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I like absolutely love it. And I showed it to Wifey Sauce for the first time, and she was like, this is amazing. This is so good. So it's on merchandise now. And if you want to help support the channel and support what we do on Bitwit, you can buy a number of merchandise items. I really like how everything turned out. These are mock-ups right now, but the hoodie, the shirts, the mugs, they all look really nice. So thank you to Richard and Wifey Sauce for being involved in the designing creative process, and thank you to anyone who happens to support us in this way.
does it have direct copper contact? Copper heat pipe?
Yes, it does. The shirts with the specific Heatsink logos on them will make you roughly 25% cooler.
Nice.
That's good. It's a guarantee. Also, check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Bitwit, if you want to see the new banner and logo, fully designed in Hotline 2.0 colors. It's it's bold, it's bright, it's pretty badass.
Tried to pull it up.
Super chat's not working.
Super chat's not working.
Super chat's not working.
How is that possible? Is there a way super chat could not work?
Is the video set live?
I thought.
Not unlisted or anything, is it?
Oh, I could double check. I thought it was, but
Look how your URL still says Awesome Sauce News.
which is so funny because if you type in just Bitwit, it also goes straight to it.
I wanted to show your banner, but it has not updated on all servers yet, so
You mean the profile pic?
keep an eye out for that.
Oh, the actual banner.
Oh, the banner at the top, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it may or may not be visible depending on the servers you're connecting to. But
You can also shop at my store.
yes, Paul has a store too.
Old horrible logo,
Old horrible logo.
but it's a classic.
A tried and
horrible
true.
logo.
A tried and true. It's already established itself. It has nothing to prove, unlike my logo.
Exactly.
And so, plenty of great materials here as well. Merchandise items.
Thumbscrew metallic T-shirts and lightweight hoodies, $5 off right now.
Excellent.
Heavyweight zipper hoodies like this one, which honestly, if you guys are looking just
Super
for
cozy.
a nice solid hoodie to get you through the winter months, I'm wearing this one. I want to say I'm wearing this one right now. I have been wearing this one for the past like season and a half or so, and I still have it, and it's still awesome, and I wear it all the time. Good hoodie. Nothing like a good hoodie.
My brother-in-law wears that hoodie all the time. Yours.
Oh yeah.
I always call him Trader anytime he wears it. I'm like, Trader. He's
Oh,
like,
he is.
he just shrugs. It's a good hoodie.
He's just following the light, guys. Following
the light.
path of the light.
Yes, indeed.
Like that.
All right. So I guess we can just dive right into the news. No, I'm not gonna copy that douchebag.
What?
Sorry, I was paraphrasing. I'm not gonna say his name. He's an idiot.
Okay.
AMD. Let's talk about AMD. announcing the Radeon RX 5500 series on October 7th. This is an article from videocards.com. They seem to get all the juicy leaks. It kind of makes me wonder, is it just someone from videocards.com giving themselves the leaks? Like, you know what I mean? It could just be them
just leaking all over themselves?
saying that they, kind of pretending that they have like this source that they go to, but it could just be someone from their own company who's getting all these leaks. I mean, wouldn't that be like the easiest way to do it? But these are bold allegations that I'm making with no substance whatsoever. I'm just talking out of my ass, as I usually do. However, the leaks that they have allegedly found are relatively interesting. They're based on the RX 5500 series, which are apparently using the same Navi 7nm RDNA architecture as the existing RX 5700 series. And they're going to come in desktop and mobile variants. So PC gamers that are on their towers, as well as laptop gamers alike, should be enthused with this news. Mid-range, this is going to be a mid-range series apparently, going up against the GTX 1650 from NVIDIA. It's going to be rocking a 128-bit with bus, and likely will replace the RX 560 models with an expected launch date of October 7th, which is 6 days away. That's very soon.
That's pretty soon.
I think actually it said, I can't remember if it said expected launch or that they would just be announced October 7th, but you should be able to see or hear more details in the very next coming days. The RX 5500 may offer up to 8 gigabytes of GDDR6, which would be a new thing for the mainstream AMD GPUs, as they're currently on GDDR5 with the RX 580 and the like. But since it has a 128-bit bus width, the bandwidth increase will likely come from a higher frequency rather than the width of the bus itself. So don't think that NVIDIA is just going to let AMD slide this launch into their inventory without any sort of retort or feedback. They too will be releasing a new GPU this month, allegedly. It's going to be the GTX 1660, as well as the GTX 1660 Super. I'm sorry.
There's a
1650
Ti
and a 1660 Super.
1660 Super.
Correct. So both of those.
Not getting confusing at all what the difference is between Ti and Super on the end of NVIDIA graphics card names.
Yeah, exactly.
Very straightforward.
Yeah, it kind of makes you think like what would be higher, a 1650 Ti or a 1650 Super? Yeah, that's bad branding for you.
TI Super.
Just because we can't answer that question indicates how bad that branding is. But speculation is saying you can expect a sub $200 price point for the RX 5500 series, which falls in line again with the price of the cards that it's going up against on the NVIDIA side. But it won't be available until later this quarter. So it seems that the announcement will be October 7th, but it might not. The card might not be available till later than that. That's just according to this article. I have no idea what's what. We'll just have to wait and see. But
if the article is correct, then what we were speculating about last week, which is that this might be a Polaris rebrand, that seems to be good news. If this actually is Navi based,
yeah, it is Navi, not just a refresh.
Then that makes it a bit more of an exciting product than
definitely
a Polaris rebrand again.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of like, if this is true, we're gonna have a lot of mainstream options specifically for like the 1080p gamers out there. Mm-hmm. Which is great because I feel like the majority of gamers are still at 1080p. Even though, like, from surveys I've done in the past, 1440p is steadily gaining steam, there's still a vast majority of people who are on 1920 by 1080, and these cards are more falling in line with what monitors they have, as well as their budgets. So having a wider variety of options to choose from in that space is, it can't be anything but good for the end user. So we'll be looking forward to more details on that, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. Maybe even in the coming days.
Did you mention from your notes here that it may offer 8 gigs of GDDR6?
Yes.
Okay, I missed that.
That would be very similar to the RX 580, for example, or the RX 480 that came in a 4 or an 8 gig variant. But the big difference here being GDDR6. which is
so even
somewhat
though
interesting.
it's a 128-bit bus, GDDR6
It will have
with
faster
the
memory.
faster frequency would still
Correct.
increase the bandwidth.
Correct.
All right.
By how much, we'll see. There's also been another leak with the Ryzen 9 3900 non-XQ. This is an article from WCCF Tech. This is all rumor-based, guys. Take it with a grain of salt. However, it might be a little bit more than just rumor, because the chip was apparently listed as part of BioStar's new BIOS update for its X470 NH motherboard as a supported processor. You can see there at the very bottom of that little chart there, it does list a Ryzen 9 3900 with a base clock of 3.1 gigahertz. Apparently, it's going to boost to 4.3, as opposed to the 3900X, which is 3.8 base and 4.6 boost. However, the big kicker here is that you'll still have 12 cores and 24 threads, but at a significantly lower TDP of 65 watts, as opposed to the much higher one that the 105 watts that the 3900X offers currently. So this might be good for small form factor, workstation PCs, or sort of a professional-based systems that don't have ample cooling, that might only be able to run the chip or cool the chip at lower clock speeds because it has a lower TDP and doesn't draw as much power, but still need multi-threaded performance right out of the gate. So it's pretty exciting, actually. It also might offer a cheaper alternative to the 3900X, but with with slightly lower performance. But from what we've seen in previous launches with the Zen architecture is that the non-XQ typically has been found to be the better deal overall when it comes to price to performance. A lot of people opt for the non-X version of a Zen CPU just based on price to performance. The other thing that's a concern here is yield, and if the 3900 is going to be as inaccessible and hard to find at a decent price as the existing 3900X. Some people are saying yes, because it's kind of one and the same chip. They're very similar with their DNA at their core. Other people are saying you might actually see more yield with the 3900 because they don't have to be as heavily binned as a 3900X, for example. They don't need to boost to as high speeds right out of the box. So
they don't need
the
that
silicon.
They don't need that magic core that can hit the turbo frequency.
The turbo frequency, exactly. So they could be binned from porous silicon, for example, and that might create more supply in the end. So we'll just have to wait and see. It is an exciting prospect, especially after just talking about what we did on Paul's half with 3900X prices being pretty high compared to their MSRP and just being relatively hard to find in stock right now.
Another all right, so this is something that I happened to glance at within the past few days, so I hesitate to even bring it up. I saw something about the potential for a Ryzen 9 3900 Pro CPU. And if you're not familiar, AMD with the first and second generation Ryzen processors also had a Pro lineup.
Yeah.
And the Pro lineup, generally speaking, they were maybe slightly lower clocked than the mainstream processors, a little bit more conservative there, and they had a bit more features built in to support enterprise usage and stuff. So, like I said, I hesitate to bring that up because I saw it so briefly within the past few days, but
it could be.
I said it anyway, so it's done. It's done.
There's no takesy backsies.
I can't take it back now.
You did it live.
Because we're live streaming. All right, well, there it is.
Baked in, set in stone. You heard it from Paul first, folks. But very exciting, though. I'm personally excited to put a potential 3900 into a really tiny system and just see how far we can take it and how cool it stays.
Super budget 12-core build.
Super budget 12-core build. Almost sounds like an oxymoron, but leave it to AMD to make that a possibility.
Go back 2 years, and how much did you have to pay for a 12-core processor?
Oh, yeah.
What was Intel selling this 7920X for?
Was it 7920X?
How much was that? That was
$1,500?
$1,400 or $1,500, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That's it. I mean, and they're not directly comparable. I mean,
no, of course.
There's
differences in the
details on
architecture.
either side if you wanted to get into a direct comparison, but
right.
When you talk about just the core raw performance of
Yeah.
cores and threads and everything. AMD has certainly leveled the playing field in the past couple of years, which is
And I think from
really cool.
what we've seen, you could probably get, I would say, if the 3900 were to come out, probably be $30-$40 cheaper.
I could
would
see
think.
them launching it at 450. Someone in chat,
Yeah.
I apologize I missed it because it scrolled by, but someone in chat already mentioned that if they tried to sell it for like 400, that would start to get into the 3800X.
No, they wouldn't make
territory.
it that low.
Which, yeah, they got.
There's
they
not
gotta,
that performance.
They got to respect their product stack and everything like that.
I
But
would say 40 to 50.
even
30 to
$50
50.
off, $50 off and available in stock.
Yeah.
Would sell a lot of those right now, I think.
Yeah, you could
But-
use that $50 and get a better GPU.
Yeah.
That's significant money towards the build. But let's move on to our next article from Guru 3D, which is about the Threadripper 3000 CPUs potentially not being compatible with the existing X399 motherboards, which some of us have already speculated, but we have another rumor thrown in here, another claim from DRAM Calculators Yuri Bubili, aka One Usmus, who claims that no compatibility will be seen with X399 motherboards and the upcoming Ryzen Threadripper 3000 CPUs. He hints basically that Zen 2-based Threadripper chips just require a redesigned pin layout, mainly because the CPUs have a new single memory controller, as we've seen with Ryzen 3000, as well as added pins for PCIe Gen 4. And these two things I feel like make me feel less bitter towards having a completely different pin layout, because I feel like these are features that really improve the overall health and performance of the CPU and the capabilities of the CPU, as well as the GPU, right? I mean, eventually, if and when GPUs can leverage PCIe Gen 4 to actually have greater performance and more bandwidth than the existing PCIe Gen 3 models, then this is huge. So I feel like this is due to serious improvements of the actual hardware and the technology, as opposed to AMD trying to do a cash grab with let's just see how many new motherboards we can sell and just create a different pin layout so we can profit off of it. So if we're, I don't care if I have to buy a new motherboard and I'm getting new important features, good features along with it. I don't feel as bitter towards the whole thing. This does also fall in line with rumors speculating that new boards supporting Threadripper 3000 will be based on TRX 40, WRX 80, and TRX 80 chipsets. TRX 40 and TRX 80 may be more consumer oriented, with varying memory channel support. So you might see dual channel or quad channel memory, or even 4 and 8, depending on which chipset you go with. Whereas WRX 80 could be reserved for super high core count CPUs. And this would make sense because Threadripper 3000 is apparently just going to be based on the existing EPYC processors, in terms of just like the overall DNA is going to be stripped from them. So EPYC currently goes up to 64 cores, 128 threads. So we might be able to see Threadripper 3000 CPUs with that same core and thread count, which would be pretty awesome. And that's potentially what people are speculating WRX 80 chipsets will be reserved for. And if that's the case, those boards might come with a premium. We're not too sure. But rest assured, Threadripper 3000 will be definitely cut from the same cloth as EPYC processors. So,
If I had to guess,
yeah.
based on what we've seen,
Mm-hmm.
I would think TRX 40 would be like lower end. It's like
Entry level.
they're stratifying their high end desktop platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
So TRX 40 would be your entry level Threadripper 3 platform. Supports 16 core to 32 core processors.
You think there's going to be a 16 core Threadripper when there's a 3950X coming out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's an 8 core Threadripper, and there's an 8 core with first and second gen.
But yeah, I guess that's potentially true.
So what I'm seeing, I mean, if I'm,
They've gotten a lot better in other areas too, though.
This is just my educated guesses based on what we've seen, assuming that a lot of this information is true. TRX 40 is going to be your lower end, high end desktop platform from AMD.
Yeah.
Supports 16 through through 32 core CPUs.
Mm-hmm.
TRX 80 will be the high-end desktop, both still for enthusiasts, both fully supporting overclocking, both probably even marketed towards gamers and stuff like that. People want mixed systems. TRX 80 would support all the processors, upwards of 32 cores, going all the way up to 64. WRX 80, or whatever the W one is. WRX 80 is the one that is a little bit confusing to me because they already have Epic.
Yeah.
But maybe it's something that's like sort of an in-between for your more serious people who want a workstation, who don't care as much about the gaming. So you'll have more serious WRX 80 based motherboards, like, you know, Asus makes their workstation boards and stuff like that. Like that's where they would aim it towards.
Maybe they'll like disable overclocking or something for just pure stability.
Maybe
enterprise
more
driven
limited
features.
overclocking. Yeah, something like that.
Right.
That's
I could see
that's
that.
what I would speculate based on this information, assuming it is true.
Right.
But who knows? We still have to wait and see.
That's just such an insane jump, because what was the flagship Threadripper 2 CPU at? It was like 24 cores, I think?
32.
32.
I have the 24 core in Riptide.
I don't think I
This
ever...
is the 30... Sorry, 20...
2990WX?
2950X. I have the 2970WX, which
Okay.
is a 24 core, and then there's a
2990
2990WX, which is a 32 core.
Right.
32 cores, 64 threads.
Jesus Christmas. Okay, so very exciting rumors, speculation for Threadripper 3000, and we will keep you posted if we find more details on that soon. Let's move on to our next article from Ars Technica about why big ISPs aren't happy about Google's plans for encrypted DNS. So, I'll preface this by saying that when you visit a website, your PC sends a request to the domain name server, or DNS, in order to translate the domain name into an IP address that your system can understand. Most DNS queries are unencrypted, meaning that there's privacy and security concerns. So Google and Mozilla, some of the top browser makers of the world, are trying to address this issue by adding support in their browsers for sending DNS over encrypted HTTPS protocols. Now, who would have an issue with this? Definitely not the users. Encrypted? Users love encrypted stuff. Oh yeah, privacy, protection.
I like privacy.
But who would hate that? Probably the people who profit off of being able to see what everyone else is doing, and that would include the ISPs. The ISPs, as well as big telecom, big cable companies, have already thrown a bitch fit over this proposal, over this quest that Google and Mozilla appear to be set on. So they've complained, they've bitched about it to Congress. Their two main complaints being, one, and we'll go over the first complaint, the first ISP complaint initially, is Google may switch millions of users over to their own DNS servers, which would lead to a dangerous control over DNS. Google, however, denies these claims. They actually spoke to Ars Technica personally and said Google has no plans to centralize or change people's DNS providers to Google by default. Any claim that we're trying to become the centralized encrypted DNS provider is inaccurate. So first off, right off the bat, Google saying that's not what this is about. Okay, we have plenty of other ways to track people's informations other than through DNS queries anyway. That's a false claim. They're also saying that with version 78 of Chrome, they've already outlined all their plans in detail to the House of Judiciary or Congress or whatever, that they're going to start experimenting with DOH, which is basically DNS over HTTPS. Their acronym that contains other acronyms, acronymception, by checking if the user's current DNS provider is among a list of DOH-compatible providers, and upgrade to the equivalent DOH service from the same provider. If the DNS provider isn't in the list, however, Chrome will just continue operating as it does today. There won't be any sort of encryption going on. So they're taking a very mild, sort of modest approach to this DOH, this move. Mozilla, however, is actually the one who's been a lot more aggressive in their approach of how they implement their DOH tactics. So they're actually planning to gradually move all of their users to DOH, whether or not their existing DNS provider supports it. The difference here is that Mozilla has much less market share. They only have a single-digit market share of people who are using their web browser compared to Google. So there isn't as much scrutiny on Mozilla. They're able to be more aggressive because there's less likely to be any antitrust issues with such a small browser service as there is with Google. And that could be why ISPs are throwing a bitch fit when they hear Google is trying to do the same thing as Mozilla, because they think they're going to attack it as aggressively, but that's not necessarily the case. The second issue here is that the DOH measures would make it harder for ISPs to spy on people. Everyone just pull out your tiny violins right now and play a sad song for all the ISPs, because they won't be able to spy on you as easily as they have been for so many years. Boo fucking who. The idea here is that the more people who are adopting DOH, the less the ISPs are able to monitor and modify their customer queries, which would negatively affect the ISP's ability to do things like distribute targeted ads or police their networks for copyright infringement. Things that would really provide little to no benefit to the end user, but provide all the profits and money to the ISPs. So, at the end of the day, this is just a tale of your typical ISP throwing a shit fit over losing customer control and thus precious money. Selling a product does not necessarily give a company the right to see how their customers use it. You know, ISPs are super entitled at this point because I think there was a historical accident that nobody was really regulating the internet to begin with. So when ISPs started dishing it out and selling it, there were no laws in place of how closely they could like monitor what people were watching and looking up and shit and browsing. But things have changed. That shouldn't be the case. Just because you're a global manufacturer of binoculars doesn't give you the right to be able to see what every fucking customer is looking at through those binoculars.
Yeah.
That's the stupid analogy that I came up with. But
No, it just makes...
when you put it in that way, it's kind of horrifying how much control ISPs have over looking at what you're looking at. And Google and Mozilla are trying to change that, and ISPs, of course, are being fuckwads as usual. So, you have anything to say, Paul?
Just wanted to confirm with Twitch chat. You're right. I did see all of those.
Milk?
Yeah, they're arguing about
Milkgate?
milk.
What's going on with milk?
It's difficult to keep up with. There's a lot of information being thrown around.
I'm confused. What's with the milk? What's with all the milk debate?
It's something we can address it in the after party. I think. That's
Okay.
probably.
Someone said that you're broken.
I mean, that just happens eventually when we do the live stream.
All right.
I sort of stop. I lose my ability to process information.
Am I a joke to you?
No. What? Why?
I will snap you into oblivion
Why
right
would
now.
you? I didn't say anything negative towards you.
All right, you're damn right. You're damn right.
Okay.
Glad we straightened that out.
I don't deserve this hostility. Okay.
All right, let's move on to our next story on that note. This is from Hot Hardware. Once again about Google, but this is a bit more of a lighthearted article. It's about Google and Amazon easing their frenemies tension as YouTube TV is now available on Fire TV devices.
Oh.
So I want to start off this article by doing a little straw poll, by seeing how many of you are actually still using or watching live TV. Because I'm curious myself. I feel like we've done the straw poll in the past, but I like to see an updated version of it. Now, these are two big rivals. Google and Amazon have been going head-to-head. They've had this sort of rivalry when it comes to streaming services because they're two huge giants in that market. where they weren't supporting each other's services on each other's hardware.
I think huge giants is redundant.
Huge. That's just emphasis.
Okay.
That's
Alright.
hyperbole, as opposed to redundancy. All right.
Trying to encourage
They weren't just giants, Paul.
efficiency of language.
They weren't just giants.
That's all I'm encouraging.
They were huge giants.
Okay.
All right. Paints a picture in your mind. You'll never be the same. So earlier this year, there was sort of a peace treaty. There was an olive branch offering where YouTube brought back. YouTube was actually brought back to Amazon Fire TV, and at the same time, Prime Video was allowed on Google Chromecast, which of course benefits the end user significantly. There has been another peace offering, however. The standalone YouTube TV app is now available for the Fire TV family of devices and Fire TV Edition televisions. This move is good for consumers, but I guess I'll throw this in here. What's YouTube TV all about? Some people still don't even know what the hell YouTube TV is. Is it a smart choice for users?
I don't know what it is.
It's basically watching live TV through YouTube or through a YouTube live TV app. I actually subscribed to it for half a year or so. It had over about 70 channels, but the price has raised quite significantly. It was $35 a month when it first launched, and then it went up to $40 at some point mid last year.
What?
And now it just rose again to $50. Yeah,
For
$50 in April of this year.
What do you get for paying that money?
So apparently now you have 6 accounts per household, which each get their own unlimited cloud DVR storage. So I feel like this is for people who are really trying to cut the cable cord, who are going to use YouTube TV as it is, as a regular TV. They want the DVR. They have multiple people in their home, kids, siblings or whatever, other people in the house who also watch live TV, who they're really big TV heads, and they want to be able to stream simultaneously across multiple devices. And they have, DVR, unlimited DVR recording. If those things are important to you, then you know what? Even at $50 a month, I'm sure it's probably cheaper than most people's current cable subscriptions. That being said,
Unlimited cloud DVR storage
is nice.
I could see how that would be appealing to in some ways.
That is nice. But bear in mind that there's also stiff competition in this market space. Yes, it's stiff. People are using Sling TV very happily. I know a lot of people who use Sling TV, and they're very happy with it. DirecTV Now is also a pretty good competitor. So it's not just YouTube TV anymore that you have to consider. There's a lot of stiff competition out there. I said stiff again. So I guess this boils down to, does anyone care? Let's look at the straw poll results. Does anyone still watch live TV? Paul, do you still watch live TV? Just the old boob tube? Whether it be on television, PC, or any other device, do you watch TV?
Yes, but it's rare.
Uh-huh.
I'm by no means a big sports guy at all, but my alma mater is USC. Fight on Trojans.
Woo!
I do enjoy watching a bit of USC college football when it's on.
Okay.
And sporting events are one of those things I feel like where like the live viewing is
right.
Like I don't mind watching it recorded or whatever.
Sure.
But like my phone, I get the pop up on my phone. It's like, oh, there's a USC game going because I don't always I don't always remember.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a hardcore fan or anything.
Sure.
But like, oh, there's a USC game, and then I'll pull it up and throw it on there.
Right.
I mean, I am using my HTPC and my cable card network attached TV tuner,
right?
Which is probably not the way that most people watch live TV.
Sure.
But it is still a live TV stream from a cable service provider. So
how much do you pay for that service? Out of curiosity,
we pay a combo for the cable and the fiber internet, which is like $120 a month or something in that range.
Do they tell you how much of that is for the cable and how much of it's for the internet?
Probably.
Oh, okay. But you don't know off the top of your head.
No.
Okay. I wonder if it'd be cheaper for you if you did something like, YouTube TV, or like Sling or something like that.
Probably would.
Maybe. Yeah. or you know, they could be dicks and be like, well, if you're not bundling anything, we'll just jack up the internet prices so that you are going to end up paying more for it. But I feel like you would fit into that third category. I only watch TV.
There's a Notre Dame fan in Twitch chat. I thought I knew you guys. Thought I knew. No, it's right. They're having
It's brutal. All right, so let's see what you guys think.
Okay. Results. Once in a blue moon for specific content.
Which is where you would fall in.
Which would probably be where I fall in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't watch TV at all regularly, but a relatively light amount is still 20%, and a lot of TV. So still about 25% of people, I'd say, watching TV pretty regularly.
Yeah, and a whole third just don't watch it at all.
Yeah.
Which is where I would fall in. I haven't watched TV at all in so long because we already have, you know, Netflix and Amazon Prime and
I'd be curious.
Hulu. There's already so many options.
I'd be curious how these percentages would fall if you switched from like watching TV, as in broadcast TV, over-the-air broadcasts or cable broadcasts, versus like screen time. How much time do you spend sitting and watching content?
Oh,
if you're streaming from YouTube,
totally different. Yeah.
You're right. It's totally different when it comes to the source of the content, but I would say it's exactly the same when it comes to you're sitting there watching video.
Well, yeah, of course, but this is a survey of medium.
I'm watching this.
We're looking at a different. I bet you're watching your own imaginary video.
Watching the Try Guys.
You narcissistic bastard.
They all just anyway, never mind.
Try Guys.
Yeah, you don't watch Try Guys.
Do not watch the Try Guys. I don't watch TV. Maybe if I watch more TV,
it's
I will.
It's not TV, it's YouTube.
Not the same, Paul. Not the same. Not all mediums are the same. It's what we've demonstrated with the survey.
It's true.
We can move on to our last article, which is my personal favorite. 2 men hacked an electronic billboard and decided to play a bunch of porn on it.
Are these the people?
Those are the dudes.
Ah.
They look like dudes anyway.
Look at them with their
jump to
selfie.
conclusions. Yeah, I know. They're proud of it too.
I want to dress as them for Halloween.
Yeah, so this was in a Detroit suburb of Auburn Hills on Interstate 75 around 11 p.m. on a Saturday evening.
Where's the porn? I thought there was going to be a video of the
There
porn
is a
playing.
video down there. It is kind of... It's blurry, so it might not be a problem. When you say circulate, yeah, that's a tweet that someone made a video of.
Should we watch it?
You can.
It's your stream.
I don't give a shit. So someone posted this on Twitter. That's the billboard, and it's 2 chicks who seem to just be chomping down on supper.
I'm sure they're having a good time there.
Yeah, there it is. Yep. That's probably probably the same dildo that we used.
It's a double-sided.
It's a double-sided. So how ironic is that? That
double-sided
front and back.
Double-sided billboard.
Double-sided.
I wonder
dildo?
if the porn they played also tied into that theme.
All I know is that those ladies got it front and back.
Rip channel ban.
The police shared surveillance footage online of 2 men with faces covered by hoodies pulled tight over their heads, as the picture you saw. And the suspects forced entry into the building, which was also guarded by a 6-foot fence. They were in and out in 15 minutes. Talk about that old in and out.
Wow.
Late at night. This was late at night, so the billboard, as you can see in the video, was super bright. Lots of people saw it. Ran for about 20 minutes before the police contacted the billboard company and had them turn it off. Apparently, the promoting porn to minors, any potential minors who were riding on the freeway at that time, carries a penalty of up to $500 or 90 days in jail. Wow. The suspects would also face felony burglary charges for breaking and entering. However, they have not been caught and are still at large.
You know, minors are very susceptible to that sort of thing. They're used to spending lots of time in dark, confined places.
True.
Nothing to keep them company but their pics.
You're not talking about a vagina, are you?
No, I'm talking about minors.
You said dark, confined places, so...
Yeah, nothing to keep them company but their pics and their ore that they're...
They do look on the younger side.
Covering. Well...
I don't know if it's just me, but...
I mean, that's the perpetrators. I mean, there's not. I don't want to focus too much on them. Obviously, whenever something horrible comes out and you see a picture of like the perpetrator, it's like that's probably what they want: is the fame, the notoriety. Anyway.
What would you do if you were these guys? If you broke in and you could play anything you wanted on an electronic billboard for 20 minutes, just to see people walk by. What would you do? Would you do something useful
for probably a massive audience of however many people drove by in that period of time?
But consider this: it might have only been a handful of people who drove by that sign, but the amount of sharing it got on social media was pretty immense.
That's true.
So, if you were to be able to pull off a stunt like this, hypothetically, what would you throw up there, Paul? Just be jerking it, or maybe you just like staring down at all the people driving and just doing one of these, like pointing at them disapprovingly, making them think about their decisions. Or it could be something else. It could be something great. It could be like donate to this charity, donate to children with cancer.
I would try to
so many things you can
enhance and improve the lives of the people who drove by and saw that sign by broadcasting. No, Kyle.
Free porn.
By broadcasting like some classic cinema, perhaps maybe some award-winning films that
all anal
had received
sluts.
International accolades.
Right. Like The Godfather.
I was thinking like maybe the last
Samurai.
the last 20 minutes of Babette's Feast, the 1994 winner for International Best Film.
Just drop some cinema knowledge on them. Just change their lives. Or like, wow, that was a great 10 seconds of classic film. A
powerful bit of cinema can be a deep and impactful. I want to know if anyone.
That sounds boring as hell.
If anyone at all who's watching us right now has ever actually seen Babette's Feast, because I would be. I'd be delighted. I'd be delighted.
Impressed.
If you guys don't care about a movie's pacing or anything like that, and you want to watch just a delightful film,
knowing our viewers, they've only seen Big Butts Feast.
No, Babette's Feast.
Big Butts Feast really, 5.
It's a really. I actually really like that movie.
Really? That's what you would do? You'd play some old cinema?
I mean, you're asking me to view this practically.
Yeah! That's what makes it fun.
Billboard in the middle of nowhere, and there's a few people who are going to drive by it.
Profound social influence. This would resonate with the online presence and community. This could potentially get millions of shares.
I'd just do Nyan Cat. I'd do Nyan Cat, and they'd be flying up there with the Pop-Tart and stuff like that. I mean, that would be...
Yeah.
Anyway. I wonder if anyone's going to go watch Babette's Feast now.
And be severely disappointed?
Yes, the Danish movie, Henrik. International...
Henrik definitely sounds like a name that would have watched that film. Oh, of course it would be Henrik.
Yeah, well, I mean...
How's the Babette's Feast? Well, we'll go and ask Henrik.
Sorry, it was 1987, not 1984. 1987 Danish drama, directed by Gabriel Axel.
I would have done some... I would have put up some, like...
Okay, anyway.
Just clown midget
Did the
porn
stream die? Stream's not dead.
No.
Stream's fine. Why are people saying F in chat?
Ever since I updated the NVIDIA drivers, like you mentioned, it's been totally smooth. Update your NVIDIA drivers.
Update your NVIDIA drivers.
Any graphics drivers.
Babette's Feast, Babeette. If I may speak like somewhat seriously for just the briefest moment,
sure.
Like it's not a modern film. It's an international film. It's not fast paced or anything like that.
Boring.
It's not even something probably most of you would enjoy. It's about like a French lady who flees the French Revolution and goes and lives with in this really conservative Danish community. And it's about her interactions with them.
Okay.
And then eventually she finds out that she wins like a lottery or something like that. And she gets all this money because she's just been the servant for them for quite some time.
Okay.
And but back in France before she fled due to the revolution, she was a French chef, like crazy over the top decadent French chef.
Okay.
She spends all of her money.
Yeah.
That she won in this lottery, making this meal for all of these like really conservative. In this Danish community, like she basically lives with a bunch of nuns. They're not nuns, but they're boring. It's and the end of the movie, like the payoff when she's making this meal and everything. Like I don't know,
so gratifying.
Yeah, I like it anyway.
What's it called?
Babette's Feast.
Babette's Feast. Is it black and white?
No.
At least it's not black and white.
Yeah.
I was going to be completely disinterested if it was black and white. I don't do black and white.
It's very slow.
Unlike the surveillance footage of these two dudes.
During the late
These two
19th
legends.
century, see Darren Clark posted in chat. During the late 19th century, a strict religious community in a Danish village takes in a French refugee from the Franco-Prussian War. Sorry, Franco-Prussian War, not the Revolution.
Get it right.
As a servant to the late pastor's daughters. Anyway, it's a great movie. Themes are about like decadence versus like the conservatism of the this community that they live in. And anyway, all right, let's move on.
I have a movie recommendation too.
Okay.
The Hangover 3.
Hangover 3.
Way better.
Bit more
You'll have way more
Slightly
fun
more accessible.
watching that movie than whatever Paul said.
Okay.
I've never even seen that movie. Pit My PC. Let's do Pit My PC. This is not just any other PC Pit My PC segment though. This is the liquid cooling, custom liquid cooling water edition.
Well,
custom liquid water cooling words.
Well,
The custom liquid cooling words water edition thing. So only custom open loops are allowed for this segment, for this special edition. And I did sort of an assortment. Right. He looks so young there for some reason.
It's so derpy.
That's why we chose it.
What are we doing here?
He always uses derpy pictures of us in his thumbnails, though.
I know.
Anytime he puts us in anyone in the thumbnail, it's like the worst.
Clear retaliation for that, obviously.
We're even, Steve. Right. So I just took an assortment of different entries. Some of these don't really need to be pimped at all. We're just going to ooh and awe at them. And others really do have some little areas where they can improve. And we're going to try to improve them anyway. All right. So Germ Atienza is the first guy. Looks like he's got a 9900K at 4.9 gigahertz at 1.2 volts. It's not too bad at all. ASRock Z390 Phantom ITX, 16 gigs of 3400 speed memory, and look at that shift. That's an Evolve shift from Fantex. That is a gorgeous case. It's more or less an HTPC case, small form factor, mini ITX supported. He also has an EVGA 2080 Ti XC Ultra in here.
Damn.
With an 800 watt, a Silverstone 800 watt SFX PSU. I've never built anything with an 800 watt SFX unit. That's pretty beefy. So we have a Shift X case here, absolutely gorgeous case, and I think this is one of the ones that I would just like to gawk at for a minute.
Also, his follow-up tweet says it's EK blocks primarily for the CPU and the GPU.
Right.
XSPC for the pump res combo and the radiators. And Noctua Industrial 2000 RPM fans.
Beautiful.
I like the Noctua fans as well.
It's absolutely beautiful. It looks like he has just some really clean bends here. There's a relatively tight bend coming from his CPU down to the radiator, the 240 millimeter radiator, but it doesn't look too tight to be pinched at all. Everything looks really nice and straight. The thing I really love about this build is that he used the fittings properly. Like, he really thought out how he was going to do these runs, and he bought the proper amount of fittings and the proper type of fittings in order to make his runs as easy and clean as possible. If you look at just like, there's some grouping pairs here, right? Where like coming off of that 120 millimeter radiator, he's got those double 90 degree fittings. So he didn't have to, do as ridiculous of a bend for that, and also the sort of the fitting pair that comes off of the other radiator is just really well thought out too, in order to make everything like a 90 nice and clean.
Plus a rotary 45 to bump it out around this Fantex,
yeah, exactly.
Right there.
I feel like this is just a really good example of someone who knows how to use fittings and in order to make the build and their life a lot easier. And just look a lot cleaner overall. Makes the bends so much easier. In fact, there's only two bends that I see, one from the CPU and the other from the one of the radiators. But altogether, I love the color scheme. It's very Hotline-esque.
In his rear shot, there's a couple more.
Oh yeah, there are a couple more there. But very clean altogether. It doesn't look like the GPU is water cooled as well, and cable management looks phenomenal.
Nice color scheme.
Beautiful color scheme. Yeah, I don't have much else to say about this than shower it with compliments. So.
Neither do I.
Good job, Germ. Next up we have Andy. Andy has a 9900K socketed in an MSI Meg Z390 Ace with 16 gigs of 3733 megahertz Corsair Vengeance LPX and an RTX 2080 Ti, 256 gig OCZ RD400 for boot, and 1 terabyte 860 EVO for games. And yeah, let's take a look at this build here. So this is soft tubing.
RD400, huh?
We have soft tubing, RD400. Oh, that's the OCZ SSD, right? Yes.
Isn't that a PCIe Express? Oh, no. That's an M.2. No, never mind. It's fine. Continue.
Okay. It looks like you've got a nice red case here, the H700, and sort of a black and white, or black and silver, I would say, color scheme. Other than that, which looks pretty good.
And red, too.
Red. Oh, yeah. Well, I mentioned the red case.
Oh, yes.
I don't see much else red in the system, but I still think it looks nice.
I like these straight flex tube runs going from the CPU to the GPU.
Very clean looking.
You got those.
They almost look rigid.
Kind of in parallel right there. Yeah, like that's a nice look.
I feel like your cables could use some improvement. They look just a little loose, maybe
like
not as straight.
GPU ones here?
Yeah, the GPU ones.
Straighten those out a little.
Yeah.
Just a touch.
Yeah, just a touch. Maybe like align the cable combs so they're a bit more symmetrical and stuff.
Given the amount of hardware you've got going in here, I think you've done a great job with your rear cable management, and thanks for sending the picture of that as well.
Yeah.
Also the picture of the cat. Nice kitty. Good kitty.
Oh, good kitty.
I appreciate that you're using just regular water or distilled water, I would assume. Or I don't know if you got any additives in there, but keeping that nice and clean for longevity of the system, and not having to deal with any gunky buildup in there.
Put the same LED fan that you're using at the top radiator onto your rear exhaust as well.
Oh, back here?
Yeah. Just make all the fans uniform.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be nice.
A nice little touch there. And everything else though looks really good. I mean, for a soft tubing build, I mean, obviously you could try your hand at rigid tubing. It is quite an experience and quite gratifying once you get to the finish line, but this looks really nice for what it is.
I like it. Good job, Andy.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks for the pictures.
Next we have Scott Winters. He said he was on my PC a while ago, but here we go again with an update. He has a 9700K, 5 gigahertz at 1.28 volts, was 5.2 before GPU and loop. Wow. 5700 XT. We have 32 gigs of 4,000 speed RAM and Gigabyte Z390 and gaming motherboard, along with, he said that the tubes are tainted from green dye at one point.
Oh, goodness.
Okay.
Oh, goodness.
Wow. This is, I know why I picked this build, because it looks pretty cramped,
is that
to say the least.
850 watt BQ power supply?
Looks like it. I can't imagine it'd be 350. No, it's definitely 850. There's just things.
I like his burn test screen cap that he got here.
I feel. The what? Oh,
he's got a screen cap with all of his showing that he's at 5 gigahertz on all cores.
Well, that's great and all.
And hitting high 70s, low 80s temps wise, which is nice given how packed in all that stuff is. Like, wow.
You need a bigger case, man.
I feel like there's extra fans in there that your computer just ate at some point and is still digesting. Like
it's like corn. It can't digest
this little Noctua like 30mm fan up
over
there.
the VRM.
Like, what is that? That's for the VRM.
It looks like it looks like it's right over the CPU. So
these are just extra fans that are kind of wedged in there,
which isn't great.
Provide some more airflow.
I mean, imagine if you needed to troubleshoot something
SSD
here.
up there, kind of
hanging out.
Yeah.
You need a bigger case, man.
Yeah, like this is not a great case. It's not even painted on the interior.
Yeah.
Get a better case and transfer all of this stuff to it.
I mean, it's got a PSU on the top. That's the first indicator.
And maybe get new tubing so it's not tainted green, and run before you switch to the new tubing, get the Mayhem's Blitz kit and run it through it so you can clean out your blocks and your pumps and everything like that, and then replace the tubing. And then I think you would have a much more aesthetically pleasing system. Like, I appreciate all the hardware that's wedged into this in this one photo here.
Oh yeah,
And the
loads of
fact that he's got the
potential.
picture of it's actually functional and working at a high frequency and everything like that.
But it
gosh,
looks like
just-
it's a moment
so,
away from
It's so packed in there, yeah. Like
breaking or something.
I don't know.
I feel like you already have all the right hardware to make an excellent build. You just need a proper case to fit it all in.
Yeah.
That has mounts for all the things you want. A proper mount for your pump, a proper tray for your SSD, enough airflow so that you don't have to cram 3 little Noctua fans in there to cover individual areas of your system. A new case can
better
do.
location for the power supply.
I feel like all your major problems here point to needing a better case.
Yeah.
And I know this is your second time on the segment, but allow me to invite you to a third time.
Yeah.
After you've gotten a new case, we'd love to see the transformation.
Be interested in an update.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Scott. Next up, we have J-Chew. J-Chew, this is one of the holy fuck wow jaw-dropping systems. He actually posted 2 of them. I didn't even notice that he posted the one on top, which also is just
These are 2 separate systems.
beautiful. This guy just,
7980XE.
I mean, this is like straight up. I mean, look at the gold one first. Like,
9900K.
I didn't even see the gold one, but holy effing hell.
Whoa.
This, and he's using the PC Cooler fans, I think. The really budget PC Cooler Corona RGB fans that I reviewed a while back that performed on par with Noctua's, which were really just good fans. You could buy 3 of them for like $30 or something. He's using those fans in this probably $12,000 build, easy.
Jeez.
Dual loops, amazing gold color scheme. I think this is probably one of the nicest gold color scheme builds I've ever seen. And the fact that you have all the LEDs.
I would agree with that for some reason. I don't know if it's because of the drama of the photos or the lighting or something like that. It's reminding me of the club. Where was the club that we used that the Eggies used to be held at?
Oh,
right? The Eggies Club.
Was that no? It wasn't.
It's one of the ones at Encore or Win.
Yes.
And it was just all like gold. And
everything was gold.
And dim lighting, but gold accents everywhere. That's what it reminds me of for some reason.
It looks like a Vegas club.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone in the comments or in chat is agreeing like this is really freaking sexy.
That's quite nice.
Very nice, dude. And then the other one is just super nice too.
This is a 9900K build with a 2080 Ti strictly on the ROG edition PCO11.
Yeah, really cool bend. I love that bottom bend.
Oh yeah.
You just kind of owned it. Like you could have easily just gone straight down from the GPU and straight right to the pump and then a reservoir and then up.
Blocking the view of the GPU.
Yeah, like it was just so intentionally, purposefully done in such an artistic way. And I think the fact that that bend is so curvy makes the other bends in the system just really like stand out. Like if that was completely a straight bend, then the very topmost bend that you have there, I don't think would look as good. But because you have that large aggressive swoop, every other bend looks really purposeful and intentional. Just
he says
really
wife box. This is his wife's computer.
Holy shit!
Sweet.
Lucky woman.
Yeah.
Lucky woman. She doesn't even know what she
I
has.
built my wife Hotbox, but now I feel like I need to update it.
You could have married me, J-Chew. I would appreciate you.
Well done, J-Chew.
Hot damn. My god, that first system is ridiculous. And then Mikhail, a few generations old now, but still kicking. 6700K, EVGA GTX 1080 Ti for the Win 3, Asus Maximus 8, Formula, Fantex Enthoo Evolve TG, G-Skill Trident Z 2x8 3200, and Corsair RM 850 X. Thinking of upgrading to Ryzen and keep the rest. What do you think, Paul?
Upgrading to Ryzen and keep the rest, as in the 1080 Ti and everything else. I don't know. As a pure gaming rig, I don't feel like upgrading to Ryzen would do a whole lot for you, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
You got a 6700K, which is 14 nanometer, and 6700K at the same frequency as a 7700K or a 9900K has exactly the same performance.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Right.
And you may or may not be hitting those frequencies depending on your overclock and whatnot. This is a really nice, clean build, though. So, like,
Yeah.
I feel like taking it apart. Cable management's beautiful as well.
Yeah.
I feel like taking it apart to upgrade the core components, like I don't know, I would want to just start a new build with the AMD parts that
Definitely.
you're talking about,
Yeah.
because I don't know, there's something about a water cooled build and just the extra amount of effort and time that it takes to get it all set up and everything like that. Like
Right.
disassembling it or like even doing upgrades beyond storage or something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
it's like no, it's just that's the build. It's done.
Yeah.
It's gonna live.
That's
It's
it.
gonna live out the rest of its
gonna
life
live and die.
as that build.
Right.
And then at some point you'll retire it and you'll be sad, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean honestly, I would stick with what you've got because you've got a nice assortment of parts, and unless you are a gamer / streamer and you're having really difficult time gaming and streaming at the same time on the system or something, even then I would say invest your money in a separate streaming box and still
Yeah.
game on this system
Right.
because it's real nice. It's real nice.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I agree with everything you said, Paul.
Okay.
And that's going to conclude it for Pimp My PC's custom water-cooled edition. Thank you guys for submitting all those.
That's fun.
And that's also going to end it for my half of the show.
Okay.
So I guess we can kick it over to After Party now,
Yay.
where we'll answer all of your donation comments, do some Johnsons, and everything will be amazing. So
It'll be great.
thank you very much, Everyday Tech, your Everyday Tech, for doing timestamps. If you're available for that, we love you, praise you, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Okay. Goodbye.